And Kevin was.
He's here. He's sitting right there. All right, meeting called to order at 6:02 PM on Thursday, September 5th. We do have a quorum. Every member of the board is present.
Except Mac.
What's it? Mac's online. Yeah, everyone's in the room. Mac is online. A couple things, President's report. I wanted to talk about pool rules update and a possible SOP that we could implement for pool infractions. I think I emailed it out. Everybody got a chance to read it. I got some good feedback. Basically, it's going to be similar to soccer, yellow card, red card kind of thing, and with some whistles going on. This way we don't have pool monitors yelling to be heard and it being confused as yelling out of anger, that sort of thing. Whistles are much better. So I'm just we're gonna put something in place and implement it, and there's no motion there. I'm just kind of passing that. The other thing is we're gonna have some other things on the agenda tonight to talk about. I know some of the hot topic items are Florida friendly landscaping and the what else? The fence in the dog park.
That's actually not on the
It's
agenda.
not on the agenda tonight. Okay, I know that some citizens raised some concerns about it online, putting the fence around the dog park. So we looked into it. Patty got a couple quotes. Long story short, even if we buy the products, it's about a $5,000 project. So I think it's a fantastic idea. I think we'll have some money left at the end of the year to do it. And so when that kind of time comes, I think we can probably get that done. Florida friendly landscaping. We have someone in the audience that's going to give us a presentation tonight. So we're very excited to see that. He's got some information to tell us about it. For those that don't want to wait, however long this meeting is going to last, bottom line up front, the HOA embraces and endorses Florida friendly landscaping. You know, there's lots of what do you call it? Utilities online on the UF website that can help you guide and design your yard to be both Florida friendly and HOA compliant. Those two things are not exclusive. So we'll hear more about that later tonight. That's all I have to talk about right now at the start of the meeting. One more thing. Let's see. No, we'll save that for committee. Let's jump right to treasurer, ma'am.
First thing, I just want to make sure that we have all of the items in for the 2025 budget. So we'll begin the budget workshops here coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just want to make sure that everybody has submitted their recommendations and estimates that you want to have considered. Outside of that, we have a pretty good balance sheet. Currently our big balance in total is 1.8 million and change. We have operating net cash balance of $852,105.92. That is as of today. Right now we are a little bit under budget for the master this year. So I agree with your statement, Mark, that we will probably have a little bit of cash left over to do some of those smaller things that we want to accomplish this year. And I think we haven't even really dipped into the full contingency yet. So we did have some big expenses this year with the additional cost for the BAS transfer, as well as the security at the pool. They were unplanned expenses that we cared for, but we're still under budget overall for the year. So that's a good thing. Even we're going to be close. Even actually tonight is going to absorb some of the overage. One of the reasons I wanted to share that is because we're going to approve. You know, we're assuming we have a number of big ticket items on the agenda tonight, but we've looked at that and made sure we have them. So that's it.
Thank you. Footnote: first budget committee meeting, in case anybody needs a reminder, is the 17th of this month. That's what I'm tracking, right?
Yes.
17th. It's a Tuesday, and then we skip a week, and then October 1st and October 8th are also budget committee meetings, with the goal to finalize the budget on October 24th.
Yep.
That we'll approve it. That'll give us basically 2 months to get it published and mailed out before it starts on January 1st. So that is the goal. Let's see. All right, what's next? Treasurer's report, community manager's report. Patty, would you like me to read this for you?
Could you please read?
Yes, I got it. All right, here's Patty's report for the month. The homeowners of the Paired Villas Charter Landscaping and irrigation is included in the assessment. Recently, there has been a discussion that fence lots are not being maintained, addresses are, and she listed some addresses. These homeowners are requesting the board of directors consider including the mowing of their fence properties in the association's maintenance responsibilities. All the current documents state that is the homeowner's responsibility to maintain these areas. We believe that, they believe that an amendment is justified. It is similar to how the association has taken on responsibilities of roof repairs, ensuring a consistent and fair approach. I feel like we talked about this last month, did we not?
But, yeah, but the board wasn't informed enough, so you said to table it. until this
Okay.
one. So I just need a motion.
All right. Ensuring a consistent and fair approach to maintaining areas across all properties. By including the interior of the fences and the association's landscaping services, we can ensure that homeowners receive the full benefits of assessments and maintain the aesthetic and uniformity of the community. And then you wrote, please vote. Do you want us to vote on this now?
Yes.
So your motion would be. So we would have to change. The
We can.
bylaws, essentially.
Yes. Or not. Because we're no longer repairing the roof that the parallels we have in the past. We're not no longer doing that.
Mhm.
So if you want to stay in line with the guidelines 100%, then we don't do this.
So it's not the ARC,
Mm-mm.
the guidelines, but it's the bylaws.
Mhm.
Okay, you know how I stand about, you know how I feel about
I
bylaws.
know.
Um,
It clearly states that once you fence in your yard, the HOA is no longer responsible.
right, in the bylaws, it states if you fence in your yard, then you're responsible for maintaining your yard. Right.
So these 5 homeowners are requesting, well, 2 of the homeowners are requesting
Mhm.
that we continue to mow.
Is there access?
Hmm.
They would, so the landscapers would be able to get into the backyard?
They can, and they have, but the landscapers would not be responsible for any damage that's done when they have to go under the fence and, when they have to track.
So that's the rub, right? So if a homeowner has a fence, then they're aluminum fences, they're expensive.
Yeah.
And you snag one of those inadvertently, one of the, uprights,
Yeah.
and it breaks off. The
That's not
HOA
okay.
and the landscapers need to be not responsible for that repair.
Right.
And and there's nothing in the bylaws that states either way.
Nope.
So that opens up an entire can of worms. And then what if the fencing that they have is not available anymore? What if the fencing has deteriorated? There's too many things there that I think that we can't control.
Don't we already mow the outside of those fences though, for the
Yes.
rest of the properties? So we
Mhm.
still run that risk.
But that's within the guidelines. So this would be changing the guidelines to
Sure.
which they purchased into.
The bylaws.
The bylaws, excuse me. So then we would have a change to the bylaws. So then what happens when everybody fences the yards? And now the man hours for the going in and out of those fence yards, instead of going a straight shot, 6 houses, you gotta go in, you gotta go out, in, out.
Yeah.
That's gonna increase costs.
Yeah.
And then it's also gonna increase potential damage. And then again, as fences deteriorate, who's gonna be responsible for any maintenance? Those are all questions that aren't answered by this request.
Exactly.
Those leave the HOA and the landscaping board or the landscaping company open to additional costs. So that's my concern. So I would leave well enough alone and leave it the way it is. In my opinion, I would say no.
Are all 5 of those houses fenced, or is it just the 2?
No, 5.
But it's 2 that are asking,
Mhm.
not the 5.
No, but I figure if I'm gonna ask for 2, I'm gonna ask for all 5.
Back here, if I may.
Sure, Matt.
I don't see any reason why we would even consider changing it. It's in the bylaws. If you fence your yard, you're responsible inside the yard. I see no, I mean, I'm just my perspective. I agree with everything Kevin said. It just goes back to, is there any real reason to change it other than they have a fenced yard, but they no longer want to mow it? So, my vote would be no if you're going to take a vote.
So to take a vote, somebody would first ask the motion that we would go against the bylaws as written. I am not willing to motion that. So someone else would have to motion that.
If they wanna do it.
We can just
But
motion.
I don't even think,
Table the matter. Or not.
I personally don't even think we should take a vote on it because you're voting to go against our founding documents. They're not up for a vote.
Right.
If you want to change the founding documents, you can change the founding documents and there's a process for that. And we can entertain that, but I'm not gonna pass a policy that goes against essentially our community constitution.
So what we're saying is we won't take a vote, therefore it won't change because the status quo remains.
Agreed.
Yep,
I have no problem.
You agree?
agreed.
Excellent.
Pool maintenance, the pool policy, for the security. I'll Patty, I'm
That's
trying to
what we
read through the
just talked about
typos here. The pool policy is for this,
For
the security and the enforcement of the rules, whistling color cards being discussed. Okay, we talked about that.
Yep.
Pool monitoring discussion is needed. When the contract was approved, the agreement was to have the summer months at full time and lower the designated days or later hours. Jennifer has a spreadsheet that gives the summer months usage. Please discuss the needs to make the adjustments to the pool monitor hours if the board so chooses. So pool hours, we voted for that for 3 months, correct?
Yes.
When is that 3 months up?
No.
Now, okay.
Yes.
All right, so that Jennifer's spreadsheet was set up just before this meeting, I believe, so.
I have a copy if you need it.
I've got average numbers per hour.
I will say that the community has been very supportive of the monitoring situation.
Agreed.
Mhm. And I think the damage that was run over the summer, the cost that we incurred from some of that. And just the amount of disruption that it caused for the residents, I think it's definitely quieted down. It's the solution fit the problem, and I definitely think. It's, we got the value that we were looking for.
So an interesting thing about the data that was collected, which surprised me, and this is why we did this 3-month analysis, is that what I expected to see was during peak hours from maybe noon to 5, you would see a massive influx of people. And then outside of that, there would be little people. That is not what the data showed. The data showed that the pool usage is pretty uniform throughout the entire day. So different community members prefer different hours and they consistently come during those times. Other people prefer midday, other people prefer late in the day. So the data showed that it really is kind of uniform across the entire day. I found that to be surprising. That's why you do studies, right? And you just don't wing it.
Exactly.
So what do we want to do, Patty? So the decision we have to make is, since it's up this month, we have to either decide to continue the security, extend the security, or
Well, it was a discussion amongst the board.
sure.
So whether we were gonna go back and say, okay, lower the hours. Decrease the hours if the board chooses.
I haven't had a chance to review the data. I don't know. I mean, what has it been like since school started back up?
It's not as busy, but it's still consistent throughout the day. It might be an hour or two where there's nobody there. But then families come during the day with the younger children, and then we have all people that swim first thing in the morning and they do the laps.
Yeah.
And they're there consistently.
A lot of usage throughout the day.
So it is consistent. It's not as busy, but it's still only one attendant. So. And it's only the first month. Kids are getting adjusted back in school, people going back to work. So I think honestly, another month, we can consider, we'll look at the numbers and then decide for the city.
And I think it's worth it just to keep the integrity of the, equipments and everything else that we have there. And especially, the money that we put into fixing the algae issue and some of the other things, having a lot of, things coming in and out. So I definitely think it's worth considering. So I would motion to continue it for 1 more month, monitor, and then make an assessment when we get closer to October, when the weather cools down, if we should reduce the hours for, just the weekend. Or, for the winter time. Yeah.
So Rebecca's motion is to maintain the current hours and schedule of the pool monitors. I would second that motion. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Max said yes.
1 more month.
Yeah.
All right, pool maintenance. All right, now. Lake House pipe of fire protection, 6-inch backflow repair came and put the rubber kit in and found that there is an issue inside the mechanism. This is not an on-site repair, and Patty is expecting a proposal to present at the meeting for repair. Is that proposal on the budget tonight or on the agenda tonight?
It's not, I did get it today. It's $1,800, but I asked for a credit. because,
I saw that, right, because they overbilled us once, right, or something like
well,
that.
because they were here
Mhm.
and it was the wrong issue, and now they have to come back again. This is now paying for labor, so they're giving us $450 credit towards the 1856.
Yeah, this is like a non-negotiable thing. This needs to be fixed, right?
Right.
All right, so what's the total amount?
Um,
12 something.
yeah, I'm gonna say it's like 12, because it was 1868 and then 450.
Yeah, it's strictly-
I guess 1868 by what?
And then
check it
450.
in there real quick, man.
She was gonna update it.
So it's 1418.
Um, All right, so I see from Kim, right? Is that correct?
Mhm.
Kim Wozniak, there must be some tax thrown in there. So she says the new quote would be $1,447.08. And this would come from the master operating funds, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, I motion to approve $1,447.08 to repair the 6-inch backflow. With lake house, for the lake house.
Second that motion.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye, says Mac.
None opposed, motion carries. Fire protection is important. In the dog park, the benches have been cleared. The lower portion of the dog park fence entirely has been repaired, although there have been complaints regarding the entire fence line needing a barrier. This is what we spoke about at the open of the meeting. Patty's working out proposals for this. There will be this is a new installation, not a repair, so she's gonna put together some quotes. Like I said at the beginning, it's roughly about $5,000, materials and labor. Again, a good idea, so, but I think that's something we can put towards it's gotta be on the agenda, I feel. And we need some quotes, maybe 2 or 3 quotes, and then we'll take a look at that. In Paired Village, irrigation timers. Management is currently waiting for the final installation of irrigation timers. Once these installations are complete, we can proceed with the network setup. The painting for phase 1 of the villas is tentatively scheduled for September 23rd. Patty will be sending out letters to the affected owners to have their units exterior ready in the next few weeks. Violations and the ARC. Jennifer will provide an update on the amount completed, closed, and due to review for the finance committee. This update is crucial for tracking the progress and ensuring compliance with community covenants. Updates on these inspections will be provided to the board on a monthly basis.
I don't know why that sandpiper comment is in there. That's the budget. That last comment.
Yes.
That's, the fence is done. I don't know if everybody's seen it, but that comment is to add to the budget. Because when you do the additional fencing,
Oh, yeah, I have that in the
Okay.
list.
so I can set the.
To finish the fence out next year.
Right, I think it's
Nice.
25 grand is planned, right? We're estimating, I think it was
Yeah,
25
that
grand.
was the addition.
Committee reports, finding committee. We have the appointment of Jeff Longo, Will, Jim Romzek, and Chris Matthew to the finding committee. Did we vote on that already? We got to vote on that again.
Right now.
That's what I thought. Okay, so motion to approve Jeff, Will, and Chris to the finding committee. Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Nope.
None opposed. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next step is for to approve a chair of that committee that'll brief at these meetings. So that can be done within the committee.
And Kevin's the liaison, so.
Social committee, current events are scheduled. Let me pull up that real quick. All right. So upcoming events, we have the Fall Festival on September 21st. That'll go from 3 to 6 p.m. There's gonna be a rock climbing wall, bouncy house, a DJ, some sort of power quad jumper. Basically, it's like a quad trampoline thing, and then kids get hooked into this thing and they jump in the air and flip around like a zero gravity kind of thing.
Like
There's
a
also-
Brandon Mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's gonna be some other sports kind of game station, like at a carnival, like a 3 kind of station thing or something like that. So that's on February 21st.
September 20.
What's that now?
February, it's
September.
fall. February would be winter.
You said February.
Did I say February?
Yeah.
September. Sorry, September 21st. And the total for that's a little over $5,000, $5,524. The
Check is there. Okay.
another event we got coming is on October 4th. We're gonna do movie night in Central Park. That's gonna be from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Let's see, we gotta rent the equipment, which would be a giant movie screen, a bunch of speakers, the actual Blu-ray. You actually have to pay for a movie license to show a movie in public like that, which is something we found out. That's interesting. So that's $250 to get the license to display it. There's also gonna be a few dessert food trucks. We coordinated with the food truck company and said, hey, we want movie appropriate food trucks. So, you know, snacks and things like that. The total for that event is gonna be $1663.
What's the date?
10/24.
October 4th.
Oh, October, almost.
7:30 to 9:30.
That's right, seven PM to 9:30.
Okay.
And then something else the social committee wants to do is if the budget allows, if there's money left over, we're thinking about an adult casino night here in the lake house, something for the adults in the neighborhood to get together, socialize, meet one another. Tentatively scheduled for November 16th from 7 PM to 11 PM. So expect gaming tables, and then this is not actual gambling, right? It's
Right.
like play money gambling for fun.
Yeah.
Okay, just put that out there. But there'll be food, decorations, a DJ, and good times. The last event is December, mark this on your calendars, December 7th and December 8th is story time with Santa and pictures right here in the lake house. This year, we're gonna have both Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Mrs. Claus is free this year, so she's gonna be able to come down and take some time away from the North Pole with her hubby and visit us. So there's gonna be food, arts, and crafts. And that is all from the social committee. Good times. All right, election committee. We don't have an election committee yet. We
No.
need one, right?
We're gonna have to start looking for people for that.
Okay, so we're gonna, anyone's interested in serving on the election committee, please contact management@fhrw.org. And lastly, finance committee. For those that are interested in helping plan next year's budget, for the dates that I previously enumerated, also email Patty in the office, management@fhrw.org, if you'd like to be on the finance committee to help determine what we're gonna spend money on next year. Board members, you are all automatically on this committee.
Yes.
So show up. Next item is meeting minutes. So we got to approve the July 23rd meeting minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review those?
Yes.
All right, motion to approve July 23rd meeting minutes.
Second.
Seconded, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
All right. Motion passes, thank you. On to new business, soil sample report. So Patty finally got some soil samples back, and it turns out that our soil is not so great.
It's good.
Would you say that's a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So this is good. We're gonna take some action. Long story short, I know this is a huge surprise to everybody. Our soil is mostly sand. Ooh, surprise, surprise. With a little bit of clay thrown in there. It's like 90% sand, 10% clay is what a lot of the analysis revealed. Let me
We have,
just so, how many people are on Zoom? We got a few. Let me share something real quick here. Share. All right, so for those that can see the screen now, this is kind of what one of the soil samples looks like. You can see a lot of the nutrients are in the low area with some in the high area. So high in potassium, like phosphate, right? K is potassium,
Yeah.
calcium.
Brandon Dutch.
Yeah, I should probably stay in my lane, huh, and let Tom talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Tom, are you going to the soil samples?
Thomas can see his name, but Brandon Barry really see.
He's actually- He's on Zoom.
Great, awesome. Go ahead, Brandon.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So the soil, yes, as you see, is 90% sand. This can affect the turf by high leaching of nutrients, drying out faster due to the hot temperatures during the summer, and also not able for the plant to uptake the nutrients due to pH issues in the sand soil as well. We have a solution to fix this, which we gave you guys a proposal on. It's going to be to apply some humic and fulvic acids to the turf and to some plant material as well. And what this will do will actually help. One moment, let me pull this up real quick. Okay, so humic and fulvic acids will actually help the plant uptake nutrients by it acts like a magnet, like a chelator. So what that does is it will actually retain nutrients in the soil like a magnet, so the plant can it's more available for the plant to uptake.
Great. All
It
right, I
will
see,
also go ahead.
no, I don't mean to cut you off. I see the quotes that we got are they're pretty reasonable in the hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars for each area. Right? So it looks like,
My only question, Brandon, how often would we have to do something like this? Should we budget for this twice a year, 3 times a year?
Typically over so many of these applications, you can get the soil to recorrect itself. So that is undetermined, but I do recommend putting this into your budget, a minimum of 2 to 3 times a year.
Not cheaper than sod replacement.
Yes. Now, the next question, we do have sod, we're considering putting some sod down in some of the locations. Can we put sod down before we do these treatments?
Yes, these treatments are actually low toxicity, so it will not harm the plant to apply this right after the install. It'll actually benefit the plant to uptake these nutrients as well.
should these be applied before or after we put in new sod?
He says either way.
What's best though?
Yeah,
What's your?
After the application probably will be better because then it can get absorbed through the foliage as sod doesn't have a very large root system coming from the sod farms. So you can apply it to the foliage, which will allow the plant to uptake it easier.
So after the new sod.
so put in new sod and then put in the
Yep.
soil treatment.
Application. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any questions?
Question from Mac, if I may.
Yeah, what impact does that chemical treatment have for soil erosion? That and bring the bobcat into the soil so many times they get packed down. Because I know we had that problem where I had sod done times since I was here, one still dead. And that's every time I would drive the bobcat over it, it packs that soil. I'm just wondering what we can do to find it. Or rapidly.
Brandon?
I could barely hear him due to the echo in the room.
Are you talking about when the soil is put in, when the sod is put in, they're driving the bobcats? Yeah,
And then you drive a bobcat over it. You're compacting what soil is there, and the roots aren't able to penetrate. I'm wondering if this absorption will help bring nutrients up to at least allow the roots to settle.
Tom, why don't you run us through the sod installation process? Is there some fluffing of the soil that occurs?
Like I said, Brandon can speak to this a little bit, but yes, compaction of soil is not great. There's some things that Patty and I have been discussing that we can add now. We have the ability to add on aerations in-house. So we can do things like pull the plugs and pores out and kind of soften that and allow better uptake roots to kind of break up and soften the soil, as well as the chemical treatment that Brandon's talking about. So Brandon, if you can hear what I'm saying, he's got some concerns because we've done some sod replacements with a subcontractor. They have a bobcat that they'll bring out in the soil. And it does compact down the soil a little bit. So other than aeration, is there anything else that you would recommend that we could do to kind of soften the soil up and make it a little bit more amicable towards, sod nutrient uptake?
Yes, in that application, we can add a wetting agent, which will help with some of the compaction, but actually humic acid will help with aeration, allowing air flow through the soil as well. So there's a benefit in that application for that issue as well.
And then how about not driving a bobcat on the soil? Is that something we can do?
I would recommend that we don't drive the Bobcat on the soil, but fortunately, I am not the owner of that particular company.
Okay,
So normally, small areas.
Yeah.
Won't, your yard would do a very extensive repair, so so when Patty and I, if you guys are through with Patty and I, always meet Sean, quality side, to look out, and we'll talk about that concern and see what you can do to, like, to mitigate that, right? So bigger areas is where that's a concern. A lot of the smaller repairs that vehicle houses, we don't need that.
They just carry the pieces over.
yeah.
We,
Okay.
Wheelbarrows.
All right, so what I'd like to do,
But she thinks.
Mac, do you still have your question?
Mac, you there?
Yeah, sorry, I had technical error, like my thing went flying. Hey, so I guess I saw all these little ones. I didn't have I'm traveling. I didn't have a calculator. What's the overall expense for doing the treatment?
All right, let's do this. That's what I was gonna get to next.
Oh, sorry.
Each one is charged to its own sub-association.
Yes.
So.
So the master area is $468.07, $468. The PV is $385.25.
How much was
$385.
Okay.
A sandpiper crest is $322.45. Sagewood is $701. Westlake is $163.95. And that's it.
So you're roughly $2,040.
Okay.
Change.
I would motion to batch approve all of these from its respective budgets, to be applied after we install the new sod.
Second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Yeah, this one's $700.
Any opposed?
This one's 160.
Nope.
None opposed. All right, motion carries. Once we get new sod put in, we will put down this humic acid. Is that what it is? Humic acid, right?
Blackout humic 20.
Thank you, sir. Online, I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Brandon, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next thing we got is some ARC appeals. There is some driveway extensions, 14259 Nature's Reserve Drive, and then there's a fence on 5703 Village Center. 14259 Nature's Reserve, you can see they put in some information in here. The resident previously communicated with the previous property manager. She said, yes, go ahead and do it. There's also some ADA issues there to make the house wheelchair accessible. On top of that, it's commonplace in this community. So my motion is to approve the driveway extensions as requested.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion?
I just have a question. So, is this the same type of renovation that was done that's on all the violations that Jennifer just sent out? And if we approve this, does that negate all of the
The violation, so it's more of a procedural thing, Mac. The violation was sent out because the people had them installed and didn't do an ARC. So it's just a procedural thing to get the paperwork right. So when they go to sell, they have an approval on file.
Thanks.
And to them, they thought they got approval because they talked to the property manager.
That's right. Yeah.
I think that's fine, but let's just reiterate, because it seems to be happening a lot. If you want to do something, you gotta ask the ARC and you gotta wait and get approval.
Yeah.
And that is spelled out very clearly on the website. The forms are on the website and it's not difficult. So please do that.
Agreed. Any other discussion on this one? All in favor of approving? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries. The next one is this fence install. So right before the meeting, I took a drive over there to go look at this fence installation. This is, in my eyes, another procedural thing. They submitted the ARC request went in, the ARC was approved, and then the fence company installed it not in accordance with the plan.
because there was irrigation in
Right.
place, so it's a easy.
And so I went over there and I looked at it. It's fine. It looks like everyone else's. There's other houses that have the fence installed to the same perimeter, the same standoff of the sidewalk. So to me, this is just a procedural approval. I motion to approve their fence as it is installed. There's a second. Any discussion?
One thing.
Yeah.
Everybody has sprinkler systems. If you're gonna do any kind of improvement on your house, you either need to reroute them or you need to have somebody come out and look at them. But we should not be making these types of variances because somebody didn't want to pay to have their sprinklers fixed. When I put in my back porch, I had to redo my entire sprinkler system. And that was a cost of my own because it was a decision of my own to make an improvement on my house. So moving forward, if you have sprinklers, surprise, everybody has them. It's not a surprise. If your contractor can't work around them or you can't reroute them, you shouldn't expect variances.
And again, to be clear, this is not. We are not approving it. Or waiving any ARC requirement or anything that's in a guidelines. We're not approving something that goes against the guidelines. It's not like he installed a sidewalk. Or a fence not on his property, in HOA property, and we're approving it or anything like that. This is simply a procedural thing. They didn't install it in accordance with the approved plan.
I just, again,
Sure.
to your point, I don't want to have precedent set that everybody gets to do what they want. And they say, oh, well, because my sprinkler head was right there, I went 20 feet this way.
So if you don't follow your plan, you might get a no, and then it's
Right.
gonna cost you more to get it
Exactly,
refixed.
exactly.
Okay. Any other further discussion on this one?
Appreciate you going by and looking at it.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Any opposed?
nope,
None opposed, motion carries. All right, hurricane shutter resolution.
Took the information, Kevin, thank you so much for responding.
Sure.
So I put in information that Kevin I talked about. So it is in line with the ARC guidelines and other standards. So I put that in, those blank lines are just like as noted in the ARC guidelines.
The art committee covers what can and can't be used, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Just go back with the art committee, and it also outlines how long the shutters can go up, when they can go up, and when they have to come down, and the materials used. So we're in compliance.
Right. So this, again, this is a state mandated document resolution that we have to pass. We already make provisions for it in the ARC.
Yep.
It's just that the state said you have to pass a resolution approving hurricane shutters, so we're gonna do it. So your hurricane shutters are approved in accordance with the ARC as they always were.
Right.
Now I just need everybody to sign off on the policy.
So everyone's gotta sign it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's do that everybody. We have to sign, you wanna sign right now? You just pass it around, sign it, that's fine. Trying to keep us moving along here. We have a 184 page board packet. this
So
week.
we off a week and that's what happened. The next one is the enforcement and finding policy and procedure.
Okay,
The only changes that I made to this was I took out Kim and I put in Jennifer. As because my name was in there. And since Jennifer does the violations.
Okay.
So community association representative, site inspections. I didn't know what else to put without.
all right, motion to approve the enforcement and finding procedure policy document.
Sorry.
Second, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
aye,
None opposed, motion carries.
Do we need a motion for the shutters? For this or is the signature good? There's no motion.
We don't need a motion for that.
Yep.
We gotta get Matt's signature and then. All right, next item. Master Association pool resurfacing. This is a big one. We're gonna vote on which company we're gonna hire to resurface the pool. Three companies that we had to consider. I think we've all been briefed by all of them at previous points during previous meetings. We got the Pool Works, Florida Play Structures, and Aqua Works. It's just, let's just throw this out there for discussion. Patty, you want to start and tell us,
Yes,
brief everybody kind of up on what occurred?
the works is the informational meeting that we discussed. That they'll be able to come out, close the pool for the month and a half at the same time. And they can do it in 2026, so we'll have more money saved. the January, February 2026.
Oh, look, yeah, you're right, my bad, it was the other company, my
Yeah,
mistake.
so if we broke it up and we did one and then the other, but we prefer to close the pool, you get it all done at one time.
Yep.
For the safety of everyone. And they are the most professional, they have the best business license, I've checked into all three companies, they're the most responsive. They have better business bureau,
That's your recommendation.
that's my recommendation. is the Pool. The only thing is, I did speak to Dawn from, for the
Structure.
the structure and stuff, she said, don't worry about the plumbing.
Don't worry about what?
The plumbing, because
Yeah.
my concern is we only have that one floor in the pipe. She says as long as we have everything worked out before, she can make any changes that we need to. So that made me happy, but I couldn't find a number, how much we have for the play equipment in the gym, this like that.
I can, give me.
Yes, and that, you can let me know tomorrow, because she's gonna come up with numbers. So
I
that
can give it to you in about 30 seconds.
You're good.
Becca's on the spot.
She's ready. So my suggestion, right, after working with these three different companies, trying to. Who works is the most professional. Most
And best warranty.
and best warranty.
Yeah, that was the one that gave us 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It
huge.
was 10 years by manufacturer, another 10 years by
Yep.
them.
It was the play structure, right?
Yes, splash pads. They have it broken down into a couple different spots.
Water play structure, and there was, the reserve amount was planned for 69,582.
9,582.
Yeah.
And that's still 2026.
That is through 2028.
Okay. So I'll give her that number and then we'll see what she can do. Right on.
All right. So the Pool Works, after meeting with the three companies, reviewing all the quotes, Pool Works is my favorite too. Does anybody have another favorite that they want to advocate for?
No,
No.
All right. Then for the pool reserve, Patty, you have anything else to add?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so I motion to approve the pool, hire the Pool Works to replace to resurface both pools in it would be the winter spanning 2025-2026. Is that correct? So we gotta get on the wait list because they are, right?
yes.
And that would be my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
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 None opposed, motion carries. Sava Tree,
Before we go, Patty,
Yes,
can you
ma'am.
make sure to get me the total cost so that for budgeting, I can make sure that we're planning.
Yes. Save a tree.
all right, save a tree. Patty, it's raining pretty hard, so if you could use
I
the
know.
loudest voice you can possibly muster.
Okay, is that a little better? So I had Save a Tree go through the community. So for the lake house, that's for the lake house and so this, for the lake house, the pool and the dog park trees are hard there, so they haven't been trimmed quite a long time. So I need to have them taken care of. And for the price that he charges, it's like a quarter of the price of what we give him, other companies. So this one's just the $10,001 for the three locations.
So to clean up all our dangerous trees for all three locations, and some of it's aesthetic too. But it's
It's the maintenance of the trees that happen.
it's got to be done for the health of the tree, for the health. So general tree care, it's $10,001. Is that correct? 10,001. I demand a discount.
I'll ask them for it, you know, I will.
Do we have that in the budget?
Yeah, we do have, we have tree trimming and we have some money for leftover tree removal that we haven't used year to date, so we have the money for.
Okay. All right, the motion to approve $10,001 for many tree removals and trimmings around the neighborhood.
Second.
Anyone else can second?
Second,
All right.
There we go.
And then, okay, any discussion? Anybody have any questions about that?
Needs to be done.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries.
Okay, next one is a fun one. So we never decorated the outside of the lake house for the holidays. So Jennifer got a price for us. And this company actually will come out, install and put lights up throughout the front.
That's nice.
Right? Because it's so dark, yeah.
So how this works is first year we buy the lights, then they're our lights. And then do we store them?
No,
Do
they-
they store our lights?
Yes.
And then they come out and they'll put them up every year. So the first year, we have to absorb the cost of buying the lights, but then after that, it's just the labor to install. So Patty wants to beautify during holidays. It'll look nice.
It'll look nice for Mrs. Claus when she comes
Yeah.
down.
What budget item does this come out of?
Contingency, it's only 5,600.
Contingency.
Well, I would say, actually, we have over $10,000 in the deposit account from the Lake House rentals.
Mhm.
In addition to the money that we budgeted for all of the events. So
Wow.
I think this is something that we would be able to take out of the money that we're getting, you know, as part of our events budget.
From the rentals.
Right.
We could do that.
That's a good idea.
Agreed.
So Rebecca's making a motion to approve that.
Oh, I make a motion that we make the place festive for.
So just for the record, the total is $5,649.80 for the first year. Because we have to buy the lights. Let's see, how much are the lights?
The tree alone is $4,600, artificial Christmas tree.
Well,
So,
that's not included, the tree's not included.
oh, it's not included.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, not
That
included.
is,
oh,
yeah.
you're right.
So that you can purchase and then build it up over time. And you can put it outside, inside, but it's huge.
So what is included here?
All the light, so that's just literally the 11-foot tree.
And the lights on the building.
So the 5,649 is everything except the tree. The tree, yeah.
Okay,
And all the ground lights.
so the building, the gym, and then that big tree that's going across. it.
And there's a bunch of ground lights.
Oh,
It's hard to see it in this picture. Yeah.
I can see it.
It's quite festive.
Next year, this code said what, like 2,300, 2,100 is next year. Just for them to install it. and some lights over the trees.
And obviously, if there's something wrong with the lights, they replace it.
There's a warranty.
I think it's a 3-year warranty on the lights. I believe there's a 48-hour turnaround if there was something to happen, like if the lights slip and they need to readjust them, or if the light strain goes out or something like that.
Sometime I fix
It's a 48-hour for them.
And just an FYI, this morning at the CDD, they approved their lights, holiday lights that we put up. They're just in front of the sign.
The entrance sign when you come in the
By
community by
Publix.
Publix.
For $6,500. That's what I
So
was.
that's all the hanging lights. I mean,
They have Durfee lights up
Yeah.
there? That's what they
it
said.
looks good.
Yeah.
At the entrance.
Yeah, everybody has.
Yeah.
So we have to look prettier.
All right, any further discussion?
Oh, Bill has his.
Yes.
The rain is not helping at all. Well, I'm fine. They're the holiday lights.
Holiday lights are around the tree, or around the lake house.
Pretty?
All right, we'll try to talk louder, sorry. Okay.
That'll be a whole nother system left to buy, right, with speakers and.
You need you.
So Rebecca made the motion, who seconded?
Who wants to second the lights?
Oh, I'll second.
Just to validate, so it's 5,649 for the first year, not including the tree,
Right,
and then
and then from the estimate, it looks like
It's about-
it's about half that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half the lights, half the light,
Yeah. But the tree's not included, so we'd be getting the tree separate.
If we want the tree,
If
that
we want a
was just,
tree.
that was just me walking around outside saying, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? I like to spend money.
Motion is just for the 5,600 for the lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's to purchase and then they store it all again.
All right, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Enjoy your lights. Put us some stockings. All right, that was it for the master. The next is Sandpiper, exhibit B. We got some planting materials. So, long story short, Rebecca, I'm sure you had a chance to review all of these. Can we afford all of these? Do they have the budget? With the exception of the sod.
Yeah, so we, year to date, we're underspent in the budget by about $16,000, and then we have contingency to cover the balance. So
For Sandpiper.
we're seeing-
Okay. So we got about 16,000 to spend on plants and materials, and it looks like there's roughly a little over 3,000. A little more than actually 4,000. So we can go by one and take a look at it and just get this going. First one is 5806 Spotted Way, plant material replacement. We want to do 3 7-gallon gold mound Durantas and 21-gallon Jasmines for a price of $299.69. Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed, that carries.
Nope.
Next one is 5786 Spotted Harrier Way, plant material replacement. 4 viburnums, 3 Japanese privettes, 3 Buford hollies, and 10 Aztec grasses for a total of $521.61. Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Next is 5727 Skytop Drive. We have 1 jasmine blueberry tree, another 8-foot jasmine blueberry tree, and 15 flax lilies. Total price $1,920.29. I motion to approve.
Second.
Rebecca seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, motion carries. 5751 Skytop Drive. We're looking at 5 Japanese privettes, 2 Buford hollies, and 17 Aztec grasses for a total of $486.91. I motion to approve.
I'll second.
Right. Either one. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. All right, let's see the side. What's next?
Okay, so the sod replacement that's in front of you
Mhm.
is for the entirety. Rebecca and I have spoken, and if we do a not to exceed for each of the communities, I have separate proposals. So not to exceed Grand Sandpiper Crest,
Yes.
9.
So we have 19,000 in the budget to spend on sod and Sandpiper Crest, is what you're telling me. So we picked the worst grass and replaced that.
But Tom and I will walk through. Decide, I mean, is especially Sandpiper Crest, they were left from the builder where there's like no grass. And their little bees by their parking area. So there's certain locations that we need to. They really need it.
How much is in the budget for sod? Does that match this out?
Sandpiper Crest, no, I think, well, yeah, it would take up the underspent, so for. We don't have sod specifically, but we have landscape repairs and maintenance, so our total annual budget for landscape maintenance is it's 101,974. And we are underspent year to date on that by about $12,000, which is what I was, saying before. So, and we still have remaining balance of about $34,000. If I'm adding that way in my head, but about $34,000 left for the remainder of the year, which would take care of it. So, yeah, and I already looked at this with Patty before. I propose that we focus, the 19,000 would be what we shouldn't spend any more than that this year, so we don't end up, you know, in a place where we have
Exactly.
overspent.
Yeah.
But we, so that, but it was 27 and change, I think.
Yeah,
So we would focus on the areas that needed it the most, and then we can plan for the additional budget for next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was like,
19, does that put us like right up against it? Or
Uh,
is there any wiggle room?
We'll still have, I mean, we have other areas of the budget that we're not underspent, so, I mean, that we're underspent, so I think we'll still be okay. But we will be, for landscape costs, we're gonna be
Mhm.
probably, you know, at the threshold.
So that includes everything, like no more tree, if another tree dies, no more trees. If a shrub dies, you can't replace a shrub.
Well, I think we still have regular maintenance, we still have regular maintenance in the budget, so this is what we can spend without over committing ourselves. Does that make sense? What I'm
Yes.
saying, so we have money left for the rest of the year to pay for things that come up, but what we have to spend right now, based on what we haven't spent, we shouldn't spend 19,000, and that, some of that would be coming out of contingency.
Yeah, because they have a decent size.
They have a decent contingency, yeah. Sandpiper has a $25,000 contingency, which we really haven't touched this year, so,
Great.
yeah, so there's money to spend.
All right. So Rebecca's motion is to approve 19,000 for side replacement in Sandpiper Crest,
Not to exceed 19.
not to exceed. I will second that. Is there any further discussion?
This takes into account the fact that we've got the scientific reports on soil quality and we're doing the fertilizer. And that's the best scientific knowledge we have that this sod is going to succeed.
Yes.
And I already made a note that we need to plan for the fertilizer, you know, a couple times a year, so we
Yeah.
don't have to keep doing this.
Exactly.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. New solid for sale. Well, common area hedge, so there's a hedgerow in Sandpaper Press, so there's a picture in the packet, looks like the hedges have died. Is this due to foot traffic and people busting through it?
Yeah,
Okay,
and it looks like it's coming from the apartments, obviously.
Patty, I can hear you, sorry.
It's the people that are coming through from they park over on the apartment side.
Uh-huh.
Circa,
So, yeah,
I know.
it's from Circa. Yeah, the apartments.
yes, these are all better. Yeah.
Yeah, because you see this, the grass is beat down there.
Yep.
So if they're all going through there,
For the walkway.
let's just put a walkway.
That's what I was,
Gonna get a price for a whole thing?
yeah. So that seems to be like, don't fight the system, you know, like, people are gonna go through, we're gonna put new trees in, they're just gonna trample them, push them out of the way anyway, so. Let's just put some pavers in there and be done with it.
Maybe if it's partly from Circa, I don't know if we can talk to them and get some, you know, match funding or something,
Yeah, right.
because it's partly there.
Right,
Their
it's
issue,
their,
the
it's their
problem.
residents causing the issue. They can at least split the cost, or at least entertain that idea.
All right, we'll table that one for now.
It's a good idea.
Big thorn bushes.
I've been voted down on my holly bushes, Matt. You know I love them and I want them. And it's coming up on Christmas. Who doesn't want holly?
No, I'm thinking like 4-inch spike thorns, you know.
No, I'm doing.
The next item is Ballinger Zone 46 faulty Hunter ICD 100 decoder for $675. Treasurer, are we good with this?
Yeah.
This is good. We've all reviewed the packet. I motion to approve $675 to replace this decoder. Is there a second?
Second.
Or seconds? Any discussion?
Negative.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
None opposed, motion carries. Green Earth powering, is this power washing? What is this?
Yes. So Sandpiper also needs power washing, it's in their budget. I do believe it's in their budget.
Yeah, we do have, let me just double check, I'm sure. Yeah, we have $4,800. That's it.
48. Okay. So this estimate for 10,000 is not gonna carry.
Well, I take that back. Sorry, that's year-to-date budget. Annual budget for pressure cleaning is 7,200, but still not enough to cover. But we do have the contingency available, so I know we just talked about using some of that, but if we need to, you know, it,
Yeah, because this is gonna be, you see, this is a contract for 3 years. This is the same company that's done Sagewood for the last 2 years. So,
now is this $10,000 one time for 3 years, or is it $10,000 a year?
yeah, I guess they do the houses, the sidewalks and the driveways.
Okay, do we have any other estimates, or is this just,
It's because I was getting one for Sagewood, and was like, do you need any others? So I just, because we used him, that's the only reason I did.
okay,
So if we want to get some quotes or. We find out what things.
Have you gotten quotes from other companies before and found it used to be the best?
They were like $6,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
And he's,
I mean, it
the
doesn't
same
seem
price.
unreasonable.
We had $25,000 in their contingency fund, right? So we need to take 3,000 of the 25,000 to bridge the gap.
or not even 3,000?
So it's not that much to bridge that gap, and then they'd be taken care of. And there's the money there.
Did we say we spent some year to date, or we haven't spent any year to date?
We haven't spent any of the contingency, we just agreed that we were gonna use some for
Yeah,
the,
but the regular funding for power wash.
oh, regular funding is 7,200.
And
and
we had
it's-
spent some year to date or not?
We haven't,
Okay,
we have the whole budget,
so use the $700,000 budget and 3,000 contingency.
correct.
So motion.
Go.
I'll
Alright,
second your motion.
Jason's motion is to approve the $10,550 to pressure wash. This is Sandpiper Crest, right?
Yes.
I'll second it. Any other discussion?
Just one,
Yeah.
when would we be doing that?
Probably within the next 2 to 3 months.
So after we get through rain season,
I can tell them.
just let's
It
probably
makes
for
sense.
longevity,
Yeah.
you know, because there's no point doing it. It's just gonna mold, we'll do it again in rain season.
October.
Or like November.
We give them fresh for the holidays.
Yeah, agreed.
And
It'll be
that's the
dry.
driest time of the
It'll be
year.
dry, yeah.
All in favor? Any other comments? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? Motion carries. So, all right, so that is all the Sandpiper Crest. On to Sagewood.
Sagewood, I also have a not to exceed
What's our not, so the proposal for Sagewood sod replacement is $15,353. What's our not to exceed?
11,000.
11,800.
No, 11 even.
11,
11,000 even?
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna assume all the same scrutiny and
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. $11,000, so motion to approve 11,000, not to exceed $11,000 sod replacement. In Sagewood. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? No. You wanna give some raw numbers there, so.
Yeah, so for landscape maintenance, the year to date, we're underspent 14,900, so that's where the money's. It's money that we have budgeted but didn't get.
Okay. So they still have roughly almost $15,000 to spend on landscaping. We're gonna take 11,000 of that and put it towards sod. Okay. Well. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. That's the sod replacement to Sagewood. Next is fence line cleanup.
So this is the section that's actually behind the fence, which is still part of the association property, 10 feet beyond the retaining wall and the fence. And so, Sunrise proposed to go from the end of the street all the way back up and around. Let's lift everything off the fence line, right?
Yeah.
About
Yeah, everything from that natural buffer, is, you guys are.
It's 10 feet,
That,
yeah.
it's just starting to go through the fence and encroach on the lines and stuff. We did this last year, but it's down below, it's everything else. So we don't damage the big tree, don't damage the fence.
For those that can't hear, so basically from on Boyette, there is a fence line that extends north behind Sagewood. So we're just gonna clean up that fence line, remove a lot of the brush that's creeping in into people's backyards. The total price is $1,240. Treasurer, we're good there? Treasurer says we're good. I motion to approve. Second, any discussion? All in favor?
I,
All are in favor, and none are opposed. Motion carries.
And the next one is Save a Tree. So the street trees in Sagewood have not been cut in the 2 years I've been here. If ever. So this-
3 trees in Sagewood that
No,
have
the
not
street,
been.
the street.
Oh, the street
Yes.
trees, okay.
So they're hanging over, trucks hit them. It's just them, but like by the single family.
Mhm.
So this is something you need to put in the budget to in the future. But Save a Tree, his estimate is only 2387 to do all the trees, trim them all back.
It's a lot of trees.
It's a lot of trees.
Wait,
It's a budget item.
it's a budget item. Okay, great. So. Motion to approve $2,387 to trim all of the street trees in Sagewood. Becca seconds, any discussion?
No,
I have a question if I may.
Go ahead.
I guess Sagewood is its own, zone, so they can choose to spend their money that way, correct? But
Yeah.
this is a problem across the community, but the rest of the community is not taking any action on it. Should it?
Those trees, the trees in front of the single families are owned by those homeowners. So as often as we send out letters and tell them to trim it, some do, some don't.
It's a function of the finding process, not the budget.
Where the HOA is responsible for maintaining these trees in Sagewood, correct?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Good answer, got it, thanks. I trim mine just to let you know, but I just,
Any other questions or discussion? Right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, the next one is Green Earth again.
None opposed, motion carries. Green Earth, what is this now?
This
Oh, it's
is
power washing.
Power washing for Sagewood. And they've done it 2 years in a row. He's offering the same price that he's done the same for the past 2 years, and this is a 3-year contract also with no increase over the next 3 years.
Is this a budget item, I assume?
It is, the budget, the annual budget for this is 16,000, so.
So, if we're budgeted annually for 16,000, this costs 14,995 with a 3-year rate lock. So our rate won't go up for the next 3 years. Motion to approve this power washing.
Second.
Second, we'll give Rebecca the second on this one. Any discussion?
just adding the wait till November.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait till November.
Got it. I think that's when they had it done last year too.
Yeah.
I know it was late this season.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. Let's see, from Ballinger, there is a rain sensor that needs to be replaced on 13,522 Circuit Crossing for $275. A motion to replace this sensor for $275. All right, Rebecca seconds. Is there any discussion?
No,
Nope.
Motion carries. And there is a valve box. Oh, these are the valve boxes, which is actually a safety issue.
Yeah.
The covers have broken, so there's like a 1-foot gaping hole in the ground. So 2 of them for $450. Is that correct, Patty?
Yes.
A motion to replace the valve cover boxes, valve box covers for $450. Is there a second?
Second.
You got that one? All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. On to the paired villas. We have only 2 things for paired villas, sod and the Save-A-Tree. Sod, this is a huge one. So the estimate is $52,482.18.
That we don't have, so that's another 11,000. That's what it's.
You're saying 11,000?
Yeah, we have, I said 11,000 because we have year to date underspent
Mhm.
$15,000, so. And we do have contingency, but I don't.
Still trying to figure out the Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So
The content, we have $12,000 in contingency, but with some of the other stuff with Fair Villas, I just didn't want to tap into that in case we had a bigger repair.
All right, $11,000 for sod. Motion to approve $11,000 for side in the pair of bills. Is there a second? Seconds, any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Save a Tree street cleanup, street tree cleanup. We're responsible for the trees in Paired Villas as well? Okay. And that total is $2,387. That's budgeted item. Okay, a motion to approve $2,387 to clean up the trees in Paired Villas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion?
No.
No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed, motion carries. And Westlake, I have nothing on the agenda for Westlake. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, not for that, it's like,
All right, nothing for Westlake today. Any old business we need to discuss? Doesn't look like it. All right. Favorite part, resident comment. Man, we pushed through that. That was good. 184 pages in 1 hour and 10 minutes. Well done. All right,
Because Jason's picking the draw.
that's it.
Mark, it could have been faster if we bundled all of those things and had a group vote.
Yeah. Process
Just
improvement.
pointing out,
Jesse's up. We'll go to Jesse first for his presentation on Florida friendly landscaping.
I just need one more thing.
Oh, hold on 1 second, sir. Yes,
For the finance committee, I need the board to vote. I don't know how this got missed. The board needs to vote on the amount that's gonna be charged at the planning committee. This is in the packet, right?
It was what I said.
Yeah, I saw it today. Yeah.
Yeah, we all got it.
So the board has to vote to.
So we need to go one by one to this up. We're all different.
But it's just approving the fine for the committee to approve.
But I thought we just talked about these driveway extensions not being applicable anymore.
Well, the latter, coming, for the one chance press off,
Oh, okay. So only that one.
so I'm gonna,
The other ones I still have, they have still not put any kind of ARC in at all.
Okay.
They have not submitted any kind of paperwork at all.
Well, then that's the consequence.
So
yeah, I got it pulled here.
the planning committee has reviewed these. Yeah,
so the planning committee actually meets next
they
Tuesday night.
will meet next Tuesday night to discuss that.
So you guys make the recommendation, the board makes the recommendation to start the fine and how much, and then the planning committee makes a fine.
So were they given time to remediate this? It's already been 30 days. Yeah, it's the whole process. Okay. Then we had that procedure already in place. Yeah, that's all. Because we just approved it today.
Well,
The planning committee is new to the procedures then though.
We've been doing it, but we didn't have planning committee. So the board has the right to charge $50 for a one-time offense or $100 a day until it either $1,000 or it's a violation of security.
Yeah, hold on a second.
So for the two of the, we just approved two of the driveway extensions or.
Yeah,
Only one.
One driveway,
One of them's on there.
Only one.
It's the bottom one.
yeah,
Okay.
the other was a fence. So obviously the one we approved would go away, but the others would stand.
Okay, that's what I was, that's what I was confirming.
If we find whatever we choose to find. And if they don't pay, then what happens?
The lien goes on their property, it actually goes to the attorney and then the attorney puts a lien, they try to have them try to enforce the payment, if not, we put a lien on the property.
Will the process happen where they can't use the amenities? No, that stays.
Can't, so, yeah, that's done.
Okay. I just know that's right. Yeah,
You think that would be more effective?
for sure.
Okay, so we recommend, I'm just rereading the policy
Yeah.
to make sure that we are in compliance.
Yeah.
So, violation notice. So within 3 days, 3 business days following identification of a violation, the car or CAM in this case, right, car CAM, you will on behalf of the board send the owner an out of compliance notification via regular US mail. So if mailed, regular US mail is not returned, is undelivered, the owner is deemed to have received notice. So it's assumed that if it doesn't come back, that they will receive notice. Said out of compliance notification shall be mailed to the owner at the address of record with the association for the owner and to the occupant at the property. Step 1, provide the owner and the occupant with a description of the violation and give the owner definite amount of time to cure the violation based upon a particular violation. 2, the owner and occupant will be advised of the deadline by which the individual must correct the violation. 3, reinspection for compliance must take place within 30 days of the initial notice. If the violation is not cured within the time prescribed in the out of compliance notification, the car shall send a finding notice via regular US mail and certified mail. Return receipt requested to advise the owner and occupant that the board has recommended a fine, including the date the fine will commence and the amount of the fine. If mailed regular US mail, letter is not returned as undelivered, the owner is deemed to have received notice. The matter is then referred to the fining committee for the imposition of the fine. So it sounds like we vote on it now. We say this is our recommendation. We will send out this recommendation. If they somehow between now and when the fining committee meets, cure the problem, then to the committee, it's like, yep, they fixed it, or they submitted the proper paperwork. You don't need to vote on this. There's no. Okay. Every fine that is imposed shall be in the amount of $100 per violation. A fine will be levied for each day of a continuing violation, the amount of $100 per day. The maximum accumulated fine per violation is $1,000, beginning as of 5 days from the date of the fining notification. The owner occupant will be advised that there will be a fining committee meeting, the date and time of the meeting, and where the fine will be considered, and will be provided to the person or the people being fined. The fining committee meeting date set forth in the fining notice shall be held not less than 14 days after the mailing of the final notice. So when you mail this, then the fining committee meeting can't be within 14 days.
Right.
They've been already notified.
They've been notified because the meeting's on the 10th.
Mhm.
They've been notified by certified mail.
So the final notice.
Final notices have already been sent.
Okay, so not the notice of fining, but the final notice of out of compliance.
So all the work that you just read has already been done.
The final notice has been.
Yeah.
So now the final notice says, okay, if you don't fix this, it's going to go to the board to recommend a fine.
Yeah.
So now we're here.
Yeah.
So we recommend a fine. And then it goes to the fining committee, which will meet on the 10th, which is in 5 days. So at that point, they have like 5 days to fix it.
Well, they were notified last week
Okay.
of the final meeting, so the final notice is also the call to hearing for the final.
How much how much was the total time that they had to resolve it? It was what, 45 days?
45.
At least months.
The date of the violation in all cases is March.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
So it's been 6 months.
yeah.
okay.
So I think it's time to.
Yeah.
There's been many opportunities for them to fix the out of compliance, and if they're gonna ignore it, then Mark.
Yeah. I mean, some of it would just be a paperwork drill to submit in our request. Post.
Right.
Post.
Correct.
Okay,
So
so,
at $100 a day, I bet you those requests are gonna come in really quick.
yeah.
So you got to mail the notification
It's already been done.
And
But,
of the
but do
fine.
we have to approve that before it gets mailed?
no. Because
So we're providing a recommendation
we're providing the recommendation.
to the fining
To
committee.
the file?
The fining committee on the 10th are the ones that are gonna, from that point, after they approve.
Whatever we say.
Whatever you say is that from there, they have 5 days. They'll get the letter and then have 5 days from there. And then they start getting charged $100 a day.
And the first time they were notified was in March.
So they've had more than ample time to do what they need to do based on the outline.
We're just making sure we're procedurally correct. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's all he's looking for.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify. The not to be held less than 14 days after mailing with the final notice. What is
What is the
final
final?
notice?
When you see the documents, you're only supposed to get 2 letters. They've gotten 3 or 4, to be honest with you. So the final notice was the call to hearing. So they had the final notice or show up for a hearing. Do you have a copy of that?
And zero correspondence since then for any of
Each. I think, and we have one right there available if he has them.
What's that?
The final notice is on some of the ones.
She sent the packet around to you today.
Oh, I'm just looking at procedural right now. Oh, we're just looking at the,
Okay, so the final notice has not gone in yet.
Yes, it has.
Paragraph B. So if the violation is not cured within the time prescribed in the out of compliance notification, the car shall send a fining notice. Via regular, okay, fining, not final.
Right.
Okay. Return receipt requested.
yeah, so after we recommend this, at this point,
Mhm.
there will be another notification sent to the owner and occupant subsection D, that there will be a finding committee providing them the meeting date, time, location.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't see that in my.
I think she sent it. But
Okay. Yeah, see that, that's the notification that go. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
this is what already went out. Yes.
So that already got sent out.
14 days.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that already been found. It wasn't recommended anything yet.
No, I mean, in here, it doesn't say it, but they've been recommended. The board recommends, and then.
Oh, so those two aren't tied together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the board has one.
So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because the last one has been cured.
Misunderstanding was that it was sequential from where we had approved prior to that going out. But the key is that had to go out 15 days prior to the next meeting.
Exactly.
All right, so motion, so after reviewing the documents, motion to approve, and we're not gonna list it by address for. You know, put people's business out there. Motion to approve the. How do you want to word this?
Recommend to the.
Recommend to the finding committee these 6 fines and a start date of. When does their fine start?
3 days after the.
3 days after the finding committee meeting.
Because
Okay,
So it'd be
they've
the
been notified.
13th.
the 13th.
Yeah.
So finding starts on the 13th. And is that $100 per business day or $100 per day?
$100 a day.
It does say day, right? Not business day. Up to $1,000.
And when is the next time park meets?
The ARC meets. The
ARC meets.
October 5th.
The next ARC meeting would be well, I just sent all the paperwork in for the next one, which would be the 12th, so it would be after that. I can't remember in front of me. We have the calendar that I can pull up.
That's the cutoff for submissions for that ARC meeting, right? So for the driveway people.
Today would be the cutoff for the next meeting, which would be the 12th. The next one would be, the cutoff would be the 19th for the 26th meeting.
The goal here is to correct the deficiency,
Yeah.
obviously, not to collect the fine.
Right.
So I think that if any one of these people reaches out to Patty and says, hey, I got this notice, I'm going for the fine, I'll fix it.
Right.
Okay, send me an email saying you recognize you have a problem, you're gonna fix it, give me your plan. And then
When they.
the finding committee has the. Additional evidence comes into the finding committee, Patty gives it to them, they see, okay, we have an email from this person, they're gonna fix it, they've submitted their ARC request to get it fixed. We recommend no fine, because the finding committee gets the final.
Yes, they would. So we can, once they submit the application
Mhm.
to the art, we can stop the fine at that point. So we can start it and then stop it until
Okay.
it's reviewed.
Sounds good.
You know, but-
All right, so again, to restate, could you read back the motion, please? Did you type anything in?
No.
No.
Well, no, just.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure we word it properly. So the motion would be for these 6 addresses still out of compliance. To recommend to the fining committee. To commence fining on. 13 September.
Of $100 per day.
$100 per day.
I will second that.
Let's give Henry a minute to type it out properly.
Also,
Could you read it back, please?
just the board of directors approves the listed fines.
Okay,
It's all set in the procedural for the violation notice and everything else,
Mhm.
because I'm just putting, when I do the meeting minutes, it is under the agenda.
Mhm.
And that is just, I think it's plain and simple of the motion, 2 seconds.
Okay.
Any opposed in the approval.
approves fine in accordance with the fining policy, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's the fines. In accordance. Put the section.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Addie, anything else? Sorry about the delay, sir. You ready? All right, let's do this. I am going to, give me a minute. You sent out some read ahead materials, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up on the, I'm gonna screen share. But you go ahead and just start your, if you want to sit close to the mic so you can be heard, you can pull up a chair.
That's okay, I'll stand and I think I can project loud enough so those that are listening in can hear me.
Perfect.
So thank you to the board and president here for giving me the opportunity to address this. I'll start by just passing out the 4 products that I emailed previously to for each side of the table that I emailed previously to Patty. And these were on PDFs that I emailed to the management email address. And these are the 4 products that I've also passed out to the residents in the room. And I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jesse Pearson. I'm a resident here. I'm a homeowner. I've lived here since 2017. Retired Army officer, and I am a defense contractor at MacDill Air Force Base, and probably will be for until I retire. In any case, so my interest in Florida-friendly landscaping and trying to bring this to the attention of the community and the board is based on my own experience, negative experiences with St. Augustine grass. So in the past 8 years that I've lived here, I've probably spent $8,000 replacing various parts of my lawn year to year as the St. Augustine grass dies, paying a sod company to come in and replace it, trying to figure out how to do the irrigation, failing, and then having it die again, and replace it again and again. And so I became very frustrated by that and tried to figure out what is an alternative. And so I learned about the Florida Friendly Landscaping legislation from 2009 that the Senate passed, and started reading about it and recommended that I address it here. So I'd like to start by just addressing the first PDF, which is this document that says questions and answers 2009 Florida Friendly Landscaping legislation. I'm only planning to talk total for less than 10 minutes, probably 5 to 7, in order to give the maximum available time for residents and members of the board for questions and discussion. So I'll keep this brief. So first, on the front page, it talks about the definition, the idea of what Florida Friendly Landscaping legislation proposed, essentially quality landscapes that conserve water, protect the environment, they're adaptable to local conditions and drought tolerant. Going to page 2. Page 2 talks about the ultimate goals on the left side of Florida Friendly Landscaping, which are to conserve water, the left column of the page on page 2, conserve water, preserve natural resources, and reduce water pollution. Those are the ultimate goals of Florida Friendly Landscaping. Going to the right side of the page, this really talks about, these are questions and answers talking about what authorities do the homeowners association have under Florida Friendly Landscaping, and advice what authorities and what authorities are granted to homeowners vis-a-vis the homeowner association. And essentially this lays out, that there's no restrictions to homeowners association authority. So homeowners association essentially have total authority to interpret the law and make their own guidelines and make their judgments about what is Florida friendly landscaping, and then apply that in the requirements of the HOA, and require homeowners to petition to the HOA in the architectural review process. And the HOA has total authority to make those decisions. So ultimately, there's no overarching implementation guidance from the state that comes between the state and the homeowners association. Now, the one organization between the state, and Mark, we talked about this last time you raised this topic, the one organization between the state and the homeowners association is the water district. So in Hillsborough County, the water district is the Southwest Florida Water District, which encompasses all of Southwest Florida. I reached out to the Southwest Florida Water District and spoke to a manager there multiple times. A wonderful lady, her name is Robin Grantham. Her telephone number is 352-400-8635. Again, Robin Grantham. Yep, Robin Grantham, 352-400-8635. So she's the local manager and representative of the water district. And she confirmed essentially everything that I'm saying here. The water district does not have any implementation authority or guidance above the HOA to prevent the HOA from interpreting Florida friendly landscaping and making the rules. So that's essentially what it says here on the second page. Going to the third page, on the right side at the bottom of the third page, do the review boards have the authority to tell homeowners what they can and cannot plant? Yes. So again, the HOA has the total authority to tell the homeowners what they can plant, as long as those plants are part of the Florida friendly landscaping menu of plants. Going to the next page. This is page 4 on the right, top right paragraph. If a homeowner submits a landscape plan to his or her HOA that the HOA does not consider to be Florida friendly, what recourse does the homeowner have? Essentially none. You know, the University of Florida is not going to get involved to support homeowners in any sort of dispute between the homeowner and the HOA. And this organization that created all this material is the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, IFAS extension in Gainesville. Okay, so that's page 4. Going to page 5. Essentially, this talks about alternatives to turf grass and things that traditionally, from my reading, homeowners associations are very fearful of. That if we give homeowners the authority to plant other things besides turf grass, they're going to do things like plant rock or just put rocks down and artificial turf and rubber. And Florida friendly landscaping does not support any of those. And it says very clearly here on page 5, this is very informative to me, and I learned a lot reading this. Florida friendly landscaping legislation does not support, rocks or artificial or synthetic turf grass or rubber mulch, because all of those are not supportive of environmental conservation, et cetera. So that is really essentially off the table. Going to page 6, what types of ground cover can homeowners use? So if you want to use something besides turf grass, there's many different types of ground cover that are available that are under Florida friendly landscaping principles, sweet potato, various other types of plants that you can use instead of a turf grass. Does the homeowners association have the authority to specify what you can and cannot use instead of turf grass? Absolutely. So the homeowners association can say, yes, you can or cannot use any type of ground cover, and the homeowners essentially have to abide by that. Going to page 7, turf grass. Okay, so the different types of turf grass that Florida friendly landscaping handbook specifies, there's 5 different types of turf grass that are Florida friendly specified. 2 are St. Augustine varieties. 1 is Bahia grass, and then the other one is centipede grass, and then zoysia grass. So 2 types of St. Augustine, Bahia, centipede, and zoysia grass. Of those, Bahia grass and centipede grass are identified as low maintenance. St. Augustine and zoysia are medium maintenance. So as we know, most of the HOAs in Florida use St. Augustine grass. That is a higher level of maintenance than Bahia grass and centipede grass. Now, speaking to this lady, Robin Grantham at the Florida Southwest District Management Water District, she said that she's had a lot of experience working with homeowner associations to recommend that they consider Bahia grass or allowing residents to use Bahia grass because it's less susceptible to rot, brown rot fungus, which is what has sort of attacked my grass year after year. And to allow homeowners to substitute Bahia grass instead of St. Augustine grass. And some, her notes to me were that that has been very successful, and Bahia grass has been much more resilient than St. Augustine grass in her experience. So that's one point. Can HOAs require St. Augustine grass for lawn turf grass? Absolutely, because it's one of the 5 types. So if the HOA says it's got to be St. Augustine, it absolutely does. There's no recourse to that because it is on the list. Can a HOA require a homeowner to keep turf grass green year round? No. When turf grass slows or stops growing, it becomes lighter or turns brown. This natural phenomenon occurs, especially during the cooler winter months. So just something to consider. I'm on page 7 on the right here. Down on the right, page 7, percentage of turf grass. So this was a question I asked specifically. In the law, it says that the Florida water districts will establish an implementation plan that says, and you mentioned this, I think, Mark, last time. It says the districts will establish a plan to say what percentage of turf grass is required by homeowners in a landscape. And I specifically asked that to Robin. I said, has the Southwest District ever implemented that in the law? She said, no. Since 2009, the district has never taken that up. They've never said that something like the maximum amount of a property that in the Southwest District that a HOA can require a property owner for turf grass is 50% or 65% or 40% or 20%. So the Southwest District has never done that. Therefore, she says it is up to each individual HOA if they want to establish those types of percentages. So if you want to write that into the ordinance, it says you must have 70%, then it's going to be 70%, and you have all the authority to do it. If you say you can do less than 40% or whatever, then you have the total authority to do that. Now, let me transition from that point and say, and go to the pictures. Okay, so this handout shows, sorry about that.
Streaming it to Zoom.
That's this right here.
There we go. Got it.
Yep. So these pictures that I took are all pictures that are of yards that are in Fishhawk West right now. I drove around and took these pictures. In it, I do not have a degree in agriculture science. I'm not a landscape person. I'm a defense contractor. So this is my own personal interpretation, my own personal opinion of what I think are Florida friendly landscape compliant sort of oriented landscapes that exist right now in this neighborhood. And I think these are excellent examples of Florida friendly landscape. And Mark, as you said earlier, the homeowner association clearly already adopts these principles because you are allowing these people to have very minimum amount of turf grass in their lawns. It's approved. And so I would submit these as examples that could be used by the HOA to give to homeowners to say, here's examples that already exist. You can use these, and clearly these are already approved. Talking to Robin, another thing she said is what homeowner associations often do when they're implementing this, and it seems that we are already doing that, is require that homeowners maintain a turf grass strip between the street and the sidewalk. That every homeowner is required, this is often the case by HOAs, every homeowner is required to maintain turf grass, that strip that goes between the street and the sidewalk. But from the sidewalk to the property, only generally a small turf grass strip, and then the rest of the yard can be landscaped in such a way. And that's essentially what all these do. And so that way, if you're standing on the street and looking down the street, what you see is one continuous strip of turf grass between the street and the sidewalk. And that gives a nice uniform presentation. However, then the homeowners has the option, as they have done here, to landscape the majority of their lawn as long as a small strip of turf grass exists between the sidewalk and the property. So Robin said that's pretty much what most homeowner associations are going to in the Southwest District, which is sort of indicated by these pictures.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
The upper right one does not have any turf grass by the sidewalk, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
I cannot explain why.
Can you give us the addresses of this?
Yeah.
Not to be seen as a rat and an informer, as a former soldier, I'm not gonna, inform on my fellow homeowners, so no.
I would say 3 of these 4 look really good. One could use a little love.
Very good, so that's your judgment, sir. Okay, so continuing on, so to sort of summarize, as Mark said at the beginning and previously, it's clear that the HOA does support Florida-friendly landscaping. And this gives me as a homeowner a lot of sort of faith that I can transition my own property to these types of examples and submit it to the architectural review committee and expect that it'll be approved, and I can reduce the amount of turf grass in my own lawn and reduce the amount of money that I'm spending year after year to replace turf. Now, the next point I want to raise is, and this is my last point, is that there's one point specifically where it says in here, and I want to draw your attention to the page about community property. And I'm going to find it here so that everybody can look at it with me. You can see I'm not making it up. It's about community property, and it says, okay, here it is, page 7. So on page 7, on the right side of the column, at the bottom right, let's see. Yep, I think so. Do not specify. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not. It is in here, but that's not the one. Oh, here it is. It's page 2. I apologize. Page 2 at the bottom. Does the bill address common property owned by the HOA? The answer is no. So page 2 on the bottom right, no. But the Florida Friendly Landscaping Program recommends that the HOA set an example for homeowners by following FFL and all the principles, reducing the amount of turf grass, reducing the amount of water, et cetera, et cetera. So the law only applies to property that I own as a homeowner. It does not apply to the property that you are responsible for the community property. I raised that because I think we all heard a budget item that was voted on tonight, $52,000 to replace sod in the community area. So as a homeowner, as a member of the community applying Florida Friendly Landscaping, I would suggest that that is one sort of area where the HOA board could consider in the future, instead of just blanket every year, let's replace the sod that died this year with more sod. Can we landscape more in accordance with Florida Friendly Landscaping? Can we do this same type of thing of reducing sod and replacing it with, landscaping that does not need to be irrigated, does not need to be watered, that we're not going to have to replace next year? So if instead of the $52,000 that we're spending to replace the sod, if we spent $50,000 on things we're not going to definitely have to replace next year, then that's a budget, item that we're not going to have to address in future years. So from a community perspective, that was the only thing I'd suggest. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And I'll send it over to you.
You want to hang around for questions?
Absolutely. I sure do.
Either from board members or people in the room or people
Absolutely.
online.
Happy to.
Yeah, very important. First off, let me thank you for doing all the research and
Yes,
putting
sir.
some time and effort into this.
I have a question or a comment, if I may.
Hi, Mac.
Hey, it's Mac here. Hey, I really appreciate it. And I actually support the endeavor. So this is not like, sniping from the sidelines. And I've dealt with this. Actually, I was on a homeowners out in Colorado. So we had a thing called xeriscaping, which everybody said was xeroscaping. It's xera, which is dry in Greek. So rocks do not, and et cetera, they don't equal landscaping. So I agree completely. I have to say though, my backyard was planted with Bahia because I was the 7th one to move in and the 4th to buy in the community. And that's what they were going to do. They were going to use Bahia and no irrigation in the back. It's horrible. So I would personally never put Bahia in. It just, in my own personal opinion, I live with it, and we put a pool in, and that solved the problem. But I'm just an observation. And I believe in our ARC, there is a % of turf grass required on your front lawn and also on your side yards if you live on a corner. So we might have to change again, it's been a while since I actually looked at it, but I believe there are examples that are required. So, I support everything you're saying. I agree with it. I would like to reduce my turf too. So we just have to look and see if there are percentages, even though they're not mandated. If they're in there already, we'd have to change those. But thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
At the next step for any homeowner interested in this is to consult with, and do you have, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, do you have a list of people that may be experts in FFL that people could consult with that we could post to our Facebook page and say, if you're interested in doing this, reach out to one of these people that are experts. If you don't now, that's fine.
I'll say, I absolutely do not. All my research has been online and it's been through these documents, and these documents reference people like that.
Mhm.
But the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences clearly are the experts, and they're, the Senate, the Florida Senate identifies them as the experts for
Sure.
this, so.
At some point, somebody's gonna have to have a landscaper come out to their property though. You wouldn't pick the right ones, right? Like I've had a landscaper come out and do things. Yes, ma'am.
My house is one of those.
Uh-oh.
One of the pretty ones?
Yes. We can thank Mark Kirby for that. I was having the same problem you had, I think when they built my house, they didn't clean the lot and they just put the grass on top of it and the plants and everything died.
Mm.
Died, everything you put in there died. So, I did the same thing you did. I researched before the permit. We had gone into restrictions at that time. And we had to do something. And so I got a hold of Mark Kirby. I was given his name by several neighbors. They've all used him. Cannot go over and over. And he did a wonderful job with my yard, with the photo landscaping. I sent all of this stuff with the ARC and they turned me down. And they wanted me to have St. Augustine in my front yard. And I had spent so much money on St. Augustine, I'm not putting that St. Augustine. So after fighting with Tom Kelly over and over and lots of conversations with him, we finally came to an agreement. He told me that there had to be, according to bylaws and guidelines, there had to be a strip of St. Augustine. So I applied with that and we got finally approved what I had asked him to do then. And he did it. He took out what he'd already put in there and put a strip of St. Augustine. I have fought that to stay alive since this day. My problem is I need to have my irrigation system redone because I am still using all the water to keep that St. Augustine alive. And it's, my sprinklers are at the sidewalk, and so they're all going right into so that makes much water, sidewalks. So I'm waiting on you guys to tell us that we can do something besides St. Augustine. I've had good luck with it. And I'd like to use that. So anyway, that's just a little bit of history that I.
Ma'am, you touched on a great point there, because one of the principles of FFL is proper irrigation and proper water application.
And I still need to do.
Sure. And
first, so I don't have to let people all the way to the sidewalk.
yeah, I think that there are sprinkler heads, which instead of spraying 6 feet, will just spray locally like 2 feet and they'll pop up. And that would probably be a lot more applicable for use infinitely less water, and you might have better luck with keeping it alive.
There's not ever a day goes by that I don't have something stop and tell me how nice it looks.
Mhm.
So, I recommend everybody try it because I don't have a big yard anymore.
Right, Ben?
I wish we would get off of our reliance on St. Augustine grass because it isn't the right type of grass with the conditions that we have, which is one of the criteria for friendly. It needs to be the right plant, the right time. That's not what's going on. I'm like him, I reside and it's dead. Doesn't look good, but I don't know about the Southwest Florida management because I contacted Tampa Bay Water and now I'm not sure what they do with another, but anyway, Tampa Bay Water had a rebate and I looked on the website and it was still there. And if you contacted them, they could send someone out to the yard, so I ended up, so I did, and he came out and he checked out my sprinklers for me, it's all free of charge. Told me like I didn't even have these that I was there. But again, emphasized how the reliance on St. Augustine, which is a very thirsty grass, is problematic and it's going to get any better because Hillsborough County indicated to him that this one day we water, we would probably have to stay. We had a lot of rain, which is nice, but this isn't the norm anymore. This is kind of unusual. So it seems like all the money you talk about today is all for St. Augustine grass, and you'll probably be back here next year replacing that grass, and maybe it's time to just think out a little outside the ballpark. Is it really what we, maybe people should go out to choose that grass they have? I've been paid for it, does look bad sometimes, because it's supposed to look bad if it's storm, which is what it does, that's the type of grass it is. So just some thoughts that maybe now's the time to really address the big picture. And also along with that tip of the water, they gave you a free new control box.
Oh, thanks.
And it measures the humidity in the air. I don't know much about these control boxes. And it adjusts the timing of when the sprinklers run, the length of time based upon how much moisture is in the air. It's very complicated. I don't understand. So it's
Nice.
more people. And it's, it's $3 so it might be worth calling that.
Wonderful. And who did you call again?
Tampa Bay Water.
Tampa Bay Water. The resident president says if you call Tampa Bay Water, they'll come out and do an assessment on your house
Perhaps.
and perhaps give you a rebate on your water bill.
Yeah, there are a lot of specific. But it's under funding between Tampa, Hillsborough County and the University of Florida. And Tampa Bay Water funded this person who comes out and does it, and he's exactly the kind of person you expect to be talking about landscape and water, he was perfect for it, so it was fun actually.
Right. Sir, do you have any input on this? Any recommendations for us for our common areas?
I would do. I think that Brandon, you know, is on,
Mhm.
does have some experience with that.
Okay.
Recommendations, so I'll get Patty and. Schedule it in upfront,
Yeah.
some ideas.
Yeah, you're saying
Interesting
common
to hear.
areas, because we don't have a lot of grass in common.
Not really, no, it's mostly
Yeah.
tree and, yeah,
Our dog park is very,
Yep.
it's common area.
but like, common areas in the PV, where we're putting on the side, right?
Yeah.
PV. I mean, it's not necessarily common areas,
But
it's,
the property-
Areas that we're responsible for.
yeah, it's areas we're responsible for. Yeah. Okay, good talk, good discussion. This is not the end, this is just the beginning. Yes, Will.
So, I used to live in Lakeland, and I don't know, if this is how my next door neighbor went cheap, he went about Bahia,
Mhm.
and I had St. Augustine. Bahia would go into St. Augustine and it will
Right.
kill St. Augustine.
They fight
It's suffocate.
Hmm.
So your yard has Bahia, your yard has thing, it will literally go and kill her grass.
There's strictly this, so that.
Some of the short.
Yeah, that's where
But somebody's gonna cut it, it's gonna. go on.
Different, say, for fiber, mine were leaf. I lived here 6 years. My sprinkler broke, I was gone. The grass I lived with, they grew back, rest of the water did. So I had grass for 6 years, I had spray system and things out, so anything down. I never lost. But you also have that grass in Augustine too. If you're under the shade, is it bitter blue? There's certain grasses that grow under trees. Yeah, St. Augustine.
Yeah.
I got bitter blue because I had a lot of trees in my old house that couldn't grow anything. So, yeah, that's any, those two mixed.
Awesome.
So one thing I forgot to mention is this handout, and Robin mentioned this, that the Southwest District will match funds for homeowners association projects that are water conservation, up to $20,000.
Mm.
So if you spend, you want to do a $30,000 water conservation project in the homeowner association, you can get up to $15,000 for your project, they'll match funds, and this explains all of that. So given the fact that the board voted on a $52,000 expenditure today for sod, big money, you know, this is an option to look into. And-
Just to be clear, we didn't vote on 52,000, but.
I'm sorry.
That was budgeted. We did not vote for
That was the
That was the estimate.
Sorry, I misspoke.
No, it's fine.
But, you know, so it's something we look into, if
Absolutely.
you want to apply.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other community member comments that, on any topic, it doesn't have to be on landscaping?
Mark, for a minute.
Who we got there? Is that
Yeah.
Jeff?
A couple questions on the Florida landscaping. if the resident submits a plan to ARC and it's approved, the work will be done at the expense of the homeowner, correct? Or not?
Yeah,
Yes.
Since you are not going to be responsible for replacing any sod, that will save you guys money in replacing sod every year. Because mine's been replaced every year for 5 years.
Documents say anyway.
So what is the benefit, as far as I'm concerned, by saving you guys money and helping my lawn or my yard look like something other than dead grass? And who would be responsible for maintaining the Florida landscaping once it's installed?
That falls on you, because once you make a change to the original contract, the original builder installed, it falls on the homeowner.
And sir, I would say, just in my research on the Florida friendly landscaping, this is Jesse Pearson again, is that, you know, the plants that are suggested are drought resistant. That is the whole idea, is to minimize irrigation and to use plants that are drought resistant, that you don't have to water and you don't have to spend a lot of money maintaining.
Understood. No, my only question was, you give up, or you guys give up maintaining my yard because I went to the Florida landscaping plan. So you have no responsibility to maintain any of it.
Yeah, and Jeff, you're asking an interesting question, and before I speak out loud, I'd like to think about it, because it is an interesting question.
I guess the more people that do that.
I could basically do my whole lawn with no sod, or maybe 10% grass in the front, which is very small. As you know, the properties are very small in front. So I could replace all my sod. You would have no maintenance to do, but I'm paying for it.
Well, eventually, as we get smaller areas of sod to take care of, our landscaping contract for the year decreases because they're covering less surface area. And so your assessments and dues would go down, and that's how you would recoup that.
And the soil testing was one of the things that we did so that we're making an educated process and decision, so that what we're trying to do is, instead of keep on throwing bad money and bad money and bad money, we're trying to figure out what is the best way to fix the problem at its source, which it seems is a soil issue, not a grass issue. So once we fix the soil issue and get the soil properly, pH balance and so on and so forth, the grass should root and take. So that should mitigate that in the future.
I have a question, Jeff. So the HOA is responsible, but doesn't the Sagewood residents pay for the maintenance? So your dues pay for it, not the HOA. We just execute the support.
Oh yeah, we pay the 65 or 60, whatever it is a month to have our lawns maintained.
Correct. So if you go to a low maintenance thing, your dues would go down, as Jason.
Right, well, that's what I'm trying to get an understanding, is that would be the plan going forward. It's just not keeping things the way they are, where you would just have less maintenance responsibility, but I still would be paying the full boat.
Well, no,
I'm just trying to get a clarification, that's all.
Okay, I got it. But
yeah,
it
what's
would
wrong.
seem to me that if the landscaping costs go down, your dues would go down, because there's, now it's important to note that when you do something like this, as I mentioned, it's not zero landscaping. There's still going to be landscaping costs, because you can't, otherwise we just gave out some violations of yards that have been not maintained at all. If you don't maintain your landscaping, whatever type it is, it will look bad over time. You have to trim them. You have to, so it doesn't go to zero. It just reduces it, and it reduces water. I think that's the whole point.
Right. Well, as far as trimming hedges and so on, we don't have any continuity with that in Sagewood. It's a hit and miss kind of thing. And if any of you drive through, you'll be able to see that. And I know there's a schedule where they block it into quarters or whatever they do. Probably Tom can answer that. But there are houses right now that look absolutely atrocious as far as trimming. I mean, it's just so overgrown, it's ridiculous. I'm not sure if they're doing the same parts over and over, or what the exact schedule is. I've asked for a schedule. I've never been given a schedule of what landscapings actually do every week or every month, so that we could follow it, so that when people ask, you could say, well, your part is scheduled for next week, so-and-so's is the following week, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of a hit and miss and a guess of what's going to be done every week.
Jeff, there's
Hold on,
specific.
there's another comment.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just just to comment on my trimming bushes around the house, I usually give the diameter corner. This is moving ground. That's. We're having it every season, trimming back, so it doesn't overgrow in the house. So I think that will have to be taken back there as an estimate on maintaining the landscape. Instead of your amount of grass will be reduced. But the trimming will have to be done in the corner. To make sure this overwork.
Sure.
Excellent point, sir. Thank you.
Just
Any other resident comments? Oh, all right. Football starts in 18 minutes. At this point, if there's no other comments, I motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second, Rebecca seconds. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Motion carries. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Take care, everybody.
And